Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Snort, snort, snort.
Kogan.
Drip. Snort, snort.
I got the
So, before we get to any of that, just like I did yesterday, I just want to get something out of the way. All right? Just get out of the way so we don't have to mention it again on the show. In the last month, we have seen a sharp decline in YouTube side support on this channel. What that means is super chats, super stickers, super thanks, memberships, and gifted memberships. Why? Because over the month of June and the first half of July, I was playing Street Fighter 6 and the same 3 RPGs. There was no variety. And when there's no variety, people kind of get a little bit tired, stagnated. Now, the people who were excited for Street Fighter 6, thank you. They came by every day, and they usually were tipping. So the support's been good. But I saw a sharp decline in the YouTube side support. So I would say if you were thinking of supporting DSP Gaming in the coming weeks, an absolutely great way to do that would be a super chat or a membership or a gifted membership. I would actually really appreciate that. And I'm sure if you were to do something, for example, give some memberships, right? People are going to be very happy. That's something that helps the whole community. It's not just about me. It's about everyone benefiting. Having access to the emotes, being able to talk as much as they want in the chat, getting a cool chat crown badge to show your support. You know, what level of crown you have is really cool. So all these cool benefits, right? So please consider it. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not saying you have to do anything. My content is free and always will be. But if you were thinking of supporting everything here, one great way to do that would be the YouTube side content or YouTube side support, such as those methods. So please think about it. That's it. I don't want to harp on it. I just want to move on and talk about the good stuff. So let's start with yesterday and recap what went down, because yesterday was quite interesting, to say the least. I was not expecting yesterday to go that way in any way, shape, or form. So what happened yesterday? Well, yesterday was my first day back from break, a 6 straight day streaming week this week, okay? And so I told you guys that I was going to try a new character in Street Fighter 6. Last week we forgone that. We forewent that because, you know, we had done Chun-Li, didn't go so well. Ryu, went all right, but I definitely didn't do as good with Ryu as I would have liked, lost a lot. Then I didn't do a new character last week because I wanted to focus on Blanca progress. So this week I said, let's go back and let's pick a new character again. So I did. I selected Luke. Now, all along, since I started playing Street Fighter 6, I've been giving my opinions on the game. And of course, my hate watchers and or, you know, stalker scumbags out there who literally stalk my every move and try to make me look bad at every moment have tried to somehow spin it off that I'm bad at fighting games, okay? They've completely tried to discredit my background in fighting games, saying that I was never good. The only times that I ever did well was a fluke or a bad version of a game that no one liked. Of course, all that is a false narrative generated by them to try to discredit me. In reality, if you actually ask people in the Street Fighter community from that time period, was Phil good? They would say, yes, he was good. At Super Turbo, he was placing everywhere he went. It wasn't just one version, but this is what they do. They try to discredit because it tries to prove their narrative of, oh, see, we could just make fun of Phil on the internet and make money on it. You see? So, since Street Fighter 6 came out, every word I've said about the game, they try to discredit and say, oh, it's bullshit, right? Oh, well, Phil says this about the game. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Oh, Phil thinks he's good with Blanca. Oh, that's just the character's easy mode. Oh, you know, he complains about this. Well, that's bullshit. Even though the things that I've been saying about the game have absolutely been echoed by those in the competitive fighting game community, but they don't want to talk about that, okay? So, one of the things that I have said about Street Fighter 6 is that I felt that there is a upper echelon of characters in the game that all play very similarly, that are going to likely be the early top tier of the game, and at this point in the game are pretty overpowered. Now, I'm not saying that once the game develops further and the meta is developed and everything, that people won't find workarounds and or ways to stop it, but just early on, all right? Early on, it seems like there was a grouping of characters that seemed kind of unfair. Juri, DJ, Luke, and Ken are probably the 4 biggest offenders. And then there's some characters that are kind of hybrids in between there. What I mean by this is these are characters who are all fast. They have really high priority normal attacks, okay? And they have very low risk but high reward. Meaning, they have the ability to constantly be doing dash cancels and or drive rush attacks, which are the attacks that have higher priority for the cost of some of your meter, one of your drive meter in the game. If they hit once, they literally get a giant combo. no matter where they are or what they're doing, they always get a giant damaging combo. The problem is, there should be risk associated with the reward. But with these characters, there doesn't seem to be. It seems like they are pretty safe doing what they're doing. And because of that, they can just keep doing it repeatedly. And a lot of the characters don't really have options to get out. For example, there's certain characters in this game that don't have true reversal moves. If you don't have a true invincible reversal, how do you truly stop someone who's constantly rushing you down with this option of, you know, rush down combos in it, whatever? And the answer is there really isn't that much. I mean, there's some things you can do because there's universal tools in this game, like parrying and stuff. But once you get into the corner, you're pretty screwed with certain characters. I mean, look at Zangief. He can't even do anything when he's in the corner. It's like that's the end of the round, okay? So, I've been saying this since day one. I said, now, you know, things will develop in time, but early on, this is the case with the game, all right? So, I fought characters, like I said, like a Jury or Ken or you know, Luke. And when they kick my ass, I get mad. I'm like, man, the only reason that character's beating me is because they just have too many advantages. And I've been picking characters like Blanca or Zangief or Dalsim or, you know, Marisa, Lily. I'm not picking characters that have great reversals. I'm not picking characters that have these advantages like they do. So I'm playing a different kind of game than them. And so my haters out there say, Phil's just lying and complaining because he's losing. You see, if Phil really believed what he was saying, or if it was true, he would pick those top tier characters. And he would immediately dominate everyone with them. So why doesn't he do that, right? Now, here's the truth. I don't like picking top tiers. If you haven't noticed, if you look at any fighting game that I play, all right, usually I don't gravitate towards top tiers. There's some exceptions. In Super Turbo, I pick a variety of characters. I mean, yes, I pick Vega and Balrog. Those are top tier characters. But I also play DJ. He's considered a lower mid-tier character, and I've won entire tournaments with him. You see, I like to challenge myself, because if I'm just picking a top tier and I'm only winning because I'm picking the top tier, I don't feel like I've accomplished anything. You know, when I play Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, I rarely pick Chun-Li. When I play Street Fighter 4 Vanilla, I almost never picked Sagat. I always found those characters were ridiculously stupid because it's easy mode. I want to at least give myself an element that I'm picking a character that has some challenge to it, that you can do a little bit of variety of gameplay rather than the same kind of patterns that these top tier characters usually have. And I've always done that. It's always been a thing with me. It's like a pet peeve. If I pick a top tier and it's easy mode to win, it bothers me, okay? So if you haven't noticed, in the last month and a half, I've stayed away from the characters that I've considered top tier in Street Fighter 6. I mean, even when I picked a Shoto, I picked Ryu, not Ken, right? And so, finally, yesterday, I got around to it. I'm like, all right, you know what? Let's pick Luke. Now, here's the thing. Luke actually is considered the lower top tier. And here's what I mean by that. You got Luke, but you also got Ken. They're almost the same character. The difference is that Ken has absolutely more options, more combos or paths to combo, more safe mix-ups and things. So basically, Ken is almost a better version of Luke. Luke, the one difference is Luke's fireballs are different and actually are better than Ken's. But outside of that, everything else Ken is better. Okay? So basically, everyone who wants to pick top tier just goes for Ken. At first they were picking Luke. They were like, all right, I'm picking Luke. He's harder to play. He's not as good. Go for Ken. So that's what they've done. So I said, you know, if I'm going to pick a top tier, at least let me pick a lower top tier, and let's see how it goes. So yesterday, on my first stream, I picked Luke, went into his guide, went into his, you know, his combo trials, and what I immediately found is that, once again, and this has been happening with a lot of characters, when I try them, I realize their combos aren't as easy as they look. In the case of Luke, okay, you have to charge his special moves and release the button at a certain time to get a property that'll create a wall bounce so that you can continue his combos. It's tricky. This is something that's going to take a lot of practice and a lot of muscle memory for me to memorize over time using the character. This is not something you're just going to get on the first try or even the first hour. This is something that's going to take several sessions to probably even perfect or get used to, okay? So the problem is, I know how to use the character. I've seen high-level gameplay. I watched like 30 minutes of high-level gameplay with Luke last night, or the night before, actually. But I didn't know how to implement the combos. Everything else, like, I get. There's a fireball game. He's got a good anti-air. He's got good footsies from mid-range. He's got, you know, interesting things. But whenever it's time for a combo, that's going to be a problem, okay? So, I go online in casual mode, casual play. I play for about an hour and a half, maybe tops. And I win about, I'd say 2/3 of the time, because I'm playing some lower tier players. At the same time, I'm dropping combos like crazy. So it's kind of negating itself. It's like, yeah, I'm doing all right, but I'm also constantly, dropping this stuff. So I needed to do that. So finally, there's like 1 hour left on my first stream of Luke, and people are like, listen, we're here for the ranked. You got to play ranked. All right, fine. I'll play ranked. So I jump into my 10 placement matches. And out of the 10 placement matches, I win 6. And every single match was either against a 5-star platinum or a diamond ranked player. Yes, without having any complex combos, just me using basic fundamentals of Street Fighter, which most people I've encountered online don't possess because they don't play Street Fighter like a Street Fighter fighting game. They play it like an online pattern game, okay? I win 6 out of 10. They place me in diamond, all right? Now, here's the difference. When I was using Ryu, I really didn't know much at all. Yes, my fundamentals kind of carried me through the placement matches, but I kind of feel like it was very lucky. With Luke, I don't think it was luck. It was literally me outplaying the people. I was learning different things. For example, Honda tries to do the butt splash, and it's safe against most characters, not against Luke. Luke can Shoryuken it. Of course, not a Shoryuken, whatever his uppercut's called. Luke can uppercut it, right? With certain characters like JP, from mid-range or long-range, they dominate most characters, not Luke. Luke can do a full screen run into flip kick that interrupts JP's projectiles, and from mid-range, he can interrupt him with his own projectiles or his level 1 super. So, basically, Luke has all these tools to win. And, and all I did is I learned the basic fundamentals of how to use the character, and I used the tools. I was not using complex combos. At most, I was using a basic dash cancel, wall bounce, and that's it. Or maybe launch into super in the corner, and that's about it. Very basic stuff. So I win 6 out of my 10 placement matches. I go online to ranked, and I proceed to keep winning. So in the first hour of ranked gameplay, I won way more than I lost. And people are laughing. They're like, dude, you just started playing the character. You don't even know combos. How are you doing that? And I was like, there's 2 reasons why this is happening. Reason number 1 is because the people playing Street Fighter 6 online, until you get to the upper echelon, so you're probably talking 4 or 5-star diamond or master, they actually don't know how to play Street Fighter. They've been playing all these other fighting games, Street Fighter V notably, but a lot of other fighting games, and these games are pattern play games. What that means is you have a character, and the character plays a certain strategy. You learn the strategy, you go online, you do it, that's it. You never veer from the strategy. You don't adapt, you don't adjust, you don't react, you just play the pattern. If the pattern wins, which it does most of the time, you get tons of wins, you end up in friggin' diamond, right? But the moment you get faced with someone who's actually good at Street Fighter, who understands the game, who understands the fundamentals, and can beat your pattern, you fall apart like a house of cards. And that's exactly what happened with these people. So I'm playing Hondas, who normally would just be doing headbutt and butt stomp into hands and just do it over and over. And they're fighting me, and I'm parrying the headbutt, and I'm uppercutting the butt stomp. And all of a sudden, they're like shitting their fucking, sumo diapers. What do? They have no clue what the fuck to do. So I'm beating them soundly with Luke, not even having a combo under my belt. And they don't, the JP, dude, those JPs had to have been pissed. Because they're doing their pattern, and I'm just going right through it. And they're like, what the fuck, They don't know what to do. So, what's funny about all of that is likely 80% of the gameplay of Street Fighter 6 right now. Keep in mind, millions of people are playing this game online, and most of them don't get the game. There's not much you can do about that. That's always kind of been that way. Remember when I played Street Fighter 4, and there were people with mashing Ken, and they had high ranks? How the fuck did they have all those points? Because they mash with Ken and lag, mashing dragon punches and shit, It's ridiculous, but it's kind of the same thing. I mean, it's definitely more advanced today, but it's the same premise, all right? Now, the other half of the factor is that I really do believe Luke is very powerful in this game. As I said at the beginning, when I was complaining about facing Luke, saying, he seems like he has way too many tools, his fireball's too fast, man, that level 1 super is ridiculous, his anti-air is absolutely ridiculous. I was right. Everything I've been saying about Street Fighter 6, I've been right all along. Pretty much all along, all the things I've been saying, they're all echoed by the fighting game community. But my haters are just so moronic, they just want to say everything I say and do is wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, I at least have a basic premise of understanding about fighting games. You understand this. I've played them competitively since the 1990s all the way through the late 2000s. I think I know at least the basics and ins and outs of a competitive fighting game. If I observe something, I have a right to say it, and you should believe me. Don't listen to these morons who fucking just completely discredit everything. Because I was completely right about Luke. The moment I picked him, I'm winning ranked matches against diamond players because he's a great character. Do I know amazing strategies with this character? No, I don't. How am I winning? Because on the fly, I'm learning basic stuff that's beating everything. So he's ridiculously overpowered. Just like Ken, just like Jury, just like DJ. Like, all the things I've been saying all along are true, but people are just idiots, okay? So,
drip go. I got the 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 drip go.
It's like a faucet that's dripping. You can't make it stop. So what do you want me to do? Have a mute button that every second I'm tapping the mute button just in case I'm gonna have to clear? Like, this is what I mean. These dumb kids. This is what it is. It's dumb kids.